Hello, good evening, Tagg fans. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. For some of you, this afternoon, and others maybe this morning. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are in for a treat. This is Tagg's 8th anniversary this month, and I'm super excited to have this guest. They have been a huge supporter of Tagg pretty much since day one. So I can't think of a better person to join us for this month's and scene. For those of you who are new to this, we have some fun fan chat with lesbians and allies and such. We also do a couple of wine tastings thanks to our friends at Lion and Dove Wines. Also, for those who may not know, we encourage you please to visit supporttagg.com. We are doing a fundraiser definitely for this month, and we're trying to reach our goal. We are trying to save queer women's media. As some of you might know, we are one of two queer women publications left in the country. So we want to be able to continue to tell our stories, and we hope that you guys can continue to support us. So that's supporttagg.com, and anyone who donates $8 or more this month, you'll be entered to win a Tagg shirt. And Lion and Dove doesn't know it yet, but I'm kind of hoping that they can throw in a bottle of wine as well. So we'll see. But anyway, without further ado, I want to introduce to you an amazing person. You've seen her on TBS, ABC, Logo, and Last Comic Standing, just to name a few. She is nationally and internationally known. She's a triple threat combining comedy, hosting, and fundraising. And she was also voted top 5 funniest lesbians in America by Curve magazine. Of course, she's also raised over $30 million. I want that to sink in. $30 million for nonprofits around the country. So it's no wonder why she is here to help us fundraise to keep queer women's media going. So it is my pleasure to introduce my friend and comedian, Dana Goldberg.
Ebony
Hey,
Bell. Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
I'm good. I wore my equality shirt. I was going to wear, I asked you if I could wear a shirt that said fuck in it, and you said yes, and I decided not to do it. Virginia Fleming, I love you too. I hope people are watching this. We're going to have some wine, and I have, just so everyone sees this, I got my girl right next to me.
Yay!
I have her right
Oh,
next to me. My
that's
heart,
awesome.
and there's nothing better than some wine right now because I think we could all use it.
Absolutely, for various reasons, but definitely for her, for sure. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here. And for those who, again, don't know, Dana has been a longtime supporter of Tagg. Anytime I'm like, hey, Dana, can you do this for me? There has not been a time that she hasn't said no. And I know she's
Well,
super busy.
and the reason I have never said no is because Tagg has been a longtime supporter of me and my comedy. So that's what we do in this community. We support each other. That's how we survive. That's how we thrive. And that's what we do. And Barbara Carrington, I love you too. And I miss you very, very much.
Oh, I love it. People are already coming in. And please go ahead and start sending in your questions for Dana. This is the fun part of it. We get to chat with the people that we love. So go ahead and submit your questions. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask some questions, and we're also going to have a little bit of wine as well. So
Ask the harder questions before we start drinking. I need the questions to get easier as we keep drinking. Harder ones now.
yes. So there is a question for me. So I want to make sure that I do answer this. I believe it was Virginia who asked, how do you support Tagg? I'm putting it up right now. You can donate at supporttagg.com. You can donate. Another thing that's super cool is we have a tag shop. We've had signed headshots and T-shirts and all kinds of things that you guys can buy, and that will also go directly to us as well. So thank you so much for asking that, and thank you for supporting us. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. Please keep the questions going, you all. I really appreciate it. So Dana, let's just start with the basics here.
Giving me
How
Abby. Yeah.
how did you get into comedy?
Oh my God. So story goes is that I was the funniest 5-year-old that my kindergarten teacher had ever met. If you've ever read an interview about mine, that's really what happened. Basically, I auditioned for my high school talent show when I was 17, and I did a 10-minute stand-up routine, and I won, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so there was really funny though, Ebony, because we had that whole thing on tape, and when I did my first DVD, I digitized the tape because I wanted to, have it on as an extra on the DVD. I am wearing a pair of jeans, a button down, and a tie with polar bears on it. I looked just like Paula Poundstone, and I was telling jokes about my boyfriends and why it wasn't working out so well. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then to be honest with you, I didn't touch a stage until I was 26. And there was a show that used to come through Albuquerque, New Mexico. There's a couple people on here watching this, specifically my brother. What's up, my brother from the same mother? Nice to see you. And basically I went and auditioned, and they gave me a 7-minute set in front of 600 people in a sold out theater in Albuquerque. And I hit my first big joke, and I had never heard a sound like the laughter and the applause that were in that theater. And that was it. I was hooked. And from then on, I started recording my sets and sending them in. And I got hired by Olivia. I started to get write-ups in Curve magazine, which is the other of the two, as you know, and you plugged them earlier, as we support each other. But yeah, that's how it happened. And it's basically history from there. Things have been going really well until March 11th of 2020.
That just completely, it's so funny. I have this, and I'm not embarrassed to say this, I have this vision board, and it's like all these things on there, and like half of them I cannot do because of the pandemic. So I'm like, you know what? It'll be 2021 vision board.
I'm impressed that there's only half of your vision board that got knocked up.
I didn't say I accomplished them. I didn't say I accomplished them all.
Man, oh man.
Are the goals. So, but it's funny. You mentioned your set when you were 17 and talking about boyfriends. I don't know if you know this, but I'm like Googling your name. And you know how on Google, it will show the things that people are searching for?
Yeah.
Dana Goldberg husband is like number 4. Did you know that?
Well, this is the problem. There's a couple of other Dana Goldbergs. One of them is the big TV producer that I get. People send me mail for all the time. She's also the movie producer. She did like The Terminator, and she's behind Grace and Frankie. So people will literally send me their scripts. If you're doing that, stop doing that, because one, they're not getting anywhere. They're not getting to the person they need to get. And two, do a little more research on the person you're sending your script to is the other thing. Yeah. So Dana Goldberg's husband, if that's what you're searching, it's going to come up. No search results found. Is what it's going to have.
Because I definitely clicked on it, and it was just like your Wikipedia. It was like, nope, nothing here for husband. So funny. I didn't know if you knew that. I got a kick out of it. So anyway, hi Jason, the brother, right?
That's my bro.
The bro, hello, and thank you for joining us. And Eileen, thank you. It is important to keep these publications going. I really appreciate it. And it looks like a lot of people are saying how funny Dana is, and you're absolutely right. She actually joined us for our Quarantine Con in May, and you answered some sex and relationship questions. Was probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. You guys need a show. Like, there should be a show.
Was actually a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad that you asked. It was one of those things where I had probably had a couple of drinks, and I was like, really, who's going to see this? And apparently it was 1,000 people or something insane like that.
It was a lot. It was a lot of people. But anyway, fun. Dana, let's you and I pour a rosé. And while we're doing that, we're going to have our favorite wine rep, Devin from Lion and Dove, tell us a little bit about their rosé.
The newest addition to the Lion and Dove family, this highly acclaimed and delicious rosé, like all Lion and Dove wine, is gluten-free, kosher for Passover, and vegan down to the label, which makes it a perfect wine to share all year round with your friends. Produced in Chile with Cabernet Sauvignon grapes, keep an eye out for its beautiful pink color and enjoy this refreshing, crisp taste that's both dry and light with hints of strawberry. I suggest pairing this rosé with salad, chicken, or charcuterie boards, or even just while you're making dinner. Cheers.
See, my camera's reversed, and so I'm trying to figure out like how to
I
get
know,
the
it's
thing
the
in the
worst.
picture.
Yep.
It's very strange. Okay, here we go. You've already got
Well,
yours poured.
cheers, my friend. Oh, that's a
Cheers.
healthy glass. That's a very,
Oh, it's not that big. It's if you see if it's closer to my peanut head, it's not that. I know I did pour more than a taste. We'll see how much I actually get.
it's okay.
If I
We have plenty of time. We
and
have
if I have
plenty
to
of
get
time.
up and pour it out, the viewers can see what I'm wearing from the waist down, which might be nothing. It might be shorts. It could be my pajamas. Cheers,
I love
honey.
it. Cheers, my friend. Cheers. Please, I love the comments you guys are making, but let's ask some questions. There's hi, smiles, Dana's popular, funny. Someone's asking about Pinot Noir. Go to Lion and Dove. I think it's lionanddove.com, or if I'm wrong, Google it. They have all of their wines there, and where you can buy them as well. Even if you're not on the East Coast, there is ways to get there. But yes, they make a good Pinot Noir for sure.
I'm not going to lie. I did forget this was a wine tasting and we weren't just getting hammered together. I know this is a large pour. Do you understand what's happening? We're trying to save democracy, people. This
Dana,
is actually a thimble of wine.
If you had seen the other ones we've done, we did one with Kat Burrell. We did 6 wines.
Oh my God.
I was like, it was fun, but I was like, never again. I could barely speak towards the end. She was slurring, I was slurring. So now we've brought it down to 2. Yeah.
P.S. This is actually a really nice rosé. And I don't mean to say actually, because, Devin's here. This is a very nice rosé. And I love rosés. So this is why I like this rosé. See how light pink it is? It's not very syrupy, and it's not as sweet as the other ones. And so that's why I like lighter rosés, because they're actually better for the summer and things like that. Just my opinion.
You absolutely nailed it. So this is my favorite one. And I'm sure the people who have watched this before is like, she always says that, but it's true. And I think it's exactly what you said, is the fact it's not too sweet and it's not too dry. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So anyway, you guys should check the rosé out. But I want to know, what were your top 3 performances?
Oh, I know, man, that's tough.
I know. Or one.
So one of them, I can tell you which one of them was. So when I first started comedy, and this is some personal story, I don't know if a lot of people will know this because I don't think I've ever been asked that in an interview. I performed about 7 months in for the Ms. Foundation in front of Gloria Steinem at Caroline's on Broadway in New York. It was 7 months into my career. They had found me through a magazine where I'd had a small write-up. It was very, very early on. It was like 2003. And I got there, and it was like Judy Gold and my dear departed friend Suzanne Wong and Laurie Kilmartin and Roz G and all these headline comics. And I had just started, and I remember saying out loud, I don't belong here with these women yet. And the universe was like, okay. And so I fucking bombed. Like, I'm not even talking about maybe it was a bad set. Like, it looked like I was performing in front of an oil painting, and Gloria Steinem was right in front of me just looking up. And I'm like, my God. So that was 2003. Cut to about 4 years ago. I got asked to do an LPAC event to help raise money for the Lesbian Political Action Committee, also at Caroline's on Broadway. And it was still for the Ms. Foundation. Now, during this time, which was really crazy, is that I had started my fundraising, and my career had taken off since then. And I got to share the stage with Gloria Steinem at the Human Rights Campaign when she was introducing Jennifer Lopez. So backstage, I met her, and I said hi, and I said, you probably don't remember me, but blah, blah, blah. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but she goes, oh no, I do remember me meeting you. So I'm not sure if the performance was that bad or if I just made an impression on her. But basically, she was what in our Jewish tradition, what we call a mensch. She was just a really lovely human being. And so cut to this LPAC performance. I'm now performing and raising thousands of dollars for LPAC because they had me do the fundraise as well. But I had a really, really good set. and Gloria Steinem was in the same seat right in front of me, and it felt like redemption in a way. So that was definitely one of my top favorite, is that just to come back full circle in my life and go, okay, not everything has to stay a horrible memory. We can recreate things and have different memories that will take over. So that was a good one. My first performance on Olivia in 2006 was pretty awesome. I was in Columbus, Isle. And when I first started comedy, I had reached out to Kate Clinton, because Kate Clinton was one of those people that I sort of wanted to emulate her career. She's incredibly smart. She's so fucking smart. And she's political in some ways. I'm definitely a little edgier and a little dirtier than Kate, which I think some people really enjoy and some people don't, but that's the way comedy works. But this is will tell you what kind of a woman Kate Clinton is. I emailed her and said, hey, just curious if I'm going in the right path to, for this, what I want to do. Is very early on in my career. And Kate actually said, I'm going to be in Albuquerque, which is where I still lived at the time. Why don't you come to my show? I'll sit down with you and we can talk. And before her show, not after, before her show, while she was preparing, Kate sat down with me, answered questions, which was amazing. And then what happened was, on the Columbus Isle trip with Olivia, we used to have it so comedians opened for other comedians. They would do short sets to sort of get the audience fired up. So what was really amazing and serendipitous is Kate had to open for me at the Olivia thing. So it was this amazing moment, again, a first circle thing where the universe kind of puts everything together. And that was a really, really fun show. Third one, I don't know. Hopefully it's still yet to come. We'll just leave that one open and say my third favorite performance is still going to happen, because God willing, we'll have a new president and we'll get this fucking virus under control. That's all.
Agreed. I hope we get another full circle show. And I love how you said there's no one who has asked you that question. So in my mind, I'm like, is that good or is that bad? So I was
really good. Hi, Sandy Sibley. Thank you so much. I'm just saying hi to some people out there.
Please do. So we have a question from Diane Moore.
Yes.
And she wants to know, what is something that always makes you laugh? That's a great question.
Something that always makes me laugh. This is almost embarrassing to say. I don't know. It's the first thing that popped into my head, and it could probably change from day to day. But there's a website called damnyouautocorrect.com.
Ooh.
And it's basically what it sounds like. Texts that people sent that were autocorrected before they noticed, and they sent them off to the person that they were supposed to receive. For some reason, those make me laugh every single time. Other things that make me laugh, Jessica Kirson. If you don't know Jessica Kirson, comedian, she's absolutely brilliant. Erin Foley.
Hilarious.
Yes, Erin Foley, who she's done performances for for Tagg and why am I'm blanking on the women's health organization that sponsors the show, and Whitmer Health. Am I saying
Whitmer Walker Health? Yeah.
Whitmer Walker Health. Yes.
Yeah.
They've done comedy shows, and Erin was there for this. So anyway, so that's usually what makes me laugh. And then really like dumb Republicans. Like, I'm sorry if there's Republicans watching this. Listen, I know there are some Republican lesbians and LGBTQ people. I just really hope that this time you'll understand that maybe you guys didn't vote in your best interest last election. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, keep going.
I would like to know if there are some watching, but it's okay. It's okay. Let's see. We have a question from Devin from Lion and Dove.
Yes.
What LGBTQ singer songwriter is your favorite or a newbie that people should check out?
Good question. LGBTQ singer songwriter. One of my favorite ones is a woman named Natalia Zuckerman, who I know that you probably know and love at Tagg Magazine, and if you don't, you should. She is one of the singer-songwriters. And Kat down in Alabama, I love you. Renee, who's in Seattle. Everyone is, in Washington. You have people all over the country watching this, which is awesome. Casey, nice to see you. So Natalia Zuckerman, I just did a podcast. If you listen to my podcast Out in Left Field, I just did an interview with the lead singer of Neon Trees.
Yes.
And of course, his damn name, as soon as I said it. See, this is the problem. I don't have any tolerance. I've had 3 sips of wine and I'm like, I don't know. Tyler Glenn. Tyler Glenn. So for those of you that come from a religious background or you happen to be Mormon, and I know there are Mormons probably out there watching this. So Tyler Glenn and Yes, Tyler Glenn and Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons have basically challenged the Mormon Church to change their stance on LGBTQ youth. And they created a festival called Love Loud. And so this incredible festival in Utah, in Salt Lake City, Utah, sold out a 45,000 person stadium 2 years ago before obviously COVID hit and they had to cancel this one. So it's, he's amazing. He's amazing. His story is amazing. Neon Trees just came out with a brand new record. Like, so I love Tyler's music. I love, but there are really so many. It's a really good question. Any new up and comers? I don't know. So if there's anyone that does, you should put them in the comment section because people are reading these. So you just make a comment. That's
yeah, definitely. And you mentioned your podcast. What's the name of your podcast again?
Out in Left Field. And the episode before Tyler Glenn is Mary Trump. So I'm going to name drop because it's so weird, but Mary and I, she had been a fan of mine for a long time, and unbeknownst to me. And so when they had started talking about her book, I was like, I'm going to follow her on Twitter. And she was already following me. And I was like, why? And so, but then I saw the little rainbow flag next to her name.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, she's either family or she's an ally, which is awesome. And after the book came out and, I read it, someone asked me, what's the last book I've read? It was Mary Trump's book, Too Much and Never Enough, by the sociopathic asshole in the White House. But I totally forgot what I was saying. I'm answering the question. That's the last book I read. Oh, but the podcast is very, very good. So if you want to get a little of Mary Trump sort of relaxed and funny and off the cuff, this is the podcast to listen to because it was one of her favorite interviews. And then if you're listening to Out in Left Field, just let it keep playing because the next episode is actually Alexandra Billings. And that episode made me like, it fills your heart up, but it also like brought me to tears several times. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible. So there's the answer to that.
Yeah, no, make sure you all listen to that for sure. I want to get a couple more questions before we switch over to another wine, but this is actually not really a question, but I think it's a great subject to talk about. Let's see, Virginia Fleming. She said, I just read that there are 14 lesbian bars left. WTF. Yeah, this has been something. I mean, I just talked about Queer Women's Media. And we've seen, even before the pandemic, we were seeing LGBTQ publications and media outlets shutting down, some of them completely just going online instead of print. So imagine what the pandemic is doing. So anyway, we know that about media outlets, but the same thing is happening to our bars. I mean, in your opinion, why do you think that's happening?
There's a few things that happen. As lesbians, we get together, we sort of hunker down, we buy land in the country where there's more space. We, get the pets, we lose our car keys and they're in the trunk drawer somewhere. No one goes anywhere unless it's like Pride. And then maybe we'll stay out till 7. But honestly, I think that's what happens is as we get older, we really do. I mean, as women, I think whether we're gay or straight, we do enjoy that sort of, that relationship and being home. And as we get older, I'm fucking tired. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like this, when I get over 40, the last thing I want to do is like drink too much one night and lose the next 3 days is basically what happens at this point. But so that's one thing is that I think gay men in general stay out and party way longer into their older years than lesbians do. So that's one thing. And then I would say that's the biggest thing, unfortunately. So we wait for the younger, see, Renee knows what I'm talking about. We expect the younger generation to somehow be able to support bars. And, it's a different financial situation. It's also one of those things that as a community, and it's hard because it's a double-edged sword. We have so much substance abuse in the youth of our community because they're trying to fit in and they're trying to cope, and to have them out at the bars every night drinking. I want these bars to stay open at the same time. I want our youth to stay healthy. It's a very strange balance to have, but one of the bars in Virginia will know this, down in Houston, is Pearl Bar, who's owned by Julie Mabry, who's a dear friend. She, tooth and nail through this pandemic, has fought to keep that place open. The community supported her. They donated. She just got a grant from the Human Rights Campaign and Showtime to keep it open. Our queer organizations are still supporting our queer spaces and our women's spaces. And it's a beautiful thing to see. So if you do live in a city where there is a lesbian bar and a queer space and a safe space, support it if you can. Even if you're not out there drinking, make a donation, especially during COVID right now. They need it.
Yeah. So
right after you donate to Tagg Magazine, this is the thing. Yeah, don't do it yet. First, donate to Tagg Magazine so that Tagg can continue writing stories about our queer spaces and about our queer artists.
Yes.
And then give money to the bar so you can keep drinking.
Yeah, listen, and I love when we shout out queer businesses. You know, yes, of course, it's great for people to support us, but it's about working together. Literally, we would not be able to keep going post-pandemic if it wasn't for this community. People have really stepped up because they want to see Tagg continue. So it's a great example. We have, it's called Aloho, a League of Our Own here in Washington, D.C.
I've been.
And it opened up, I think it was like maybe a year before the pandemic. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong. But you mentioned younger generation, and that's exactly who I would see when I would stop in. It's like, wow, who are all these new folks? But it was refreshing to see that because it was a new queer women's bar. Like, you don't see them opening up these days. Unfortunately, you see them closing or trying to survive. So I want to give a shout out to them as well.
So, Ebony, I don't know if you can hear me. A call just came through and somehow disconnected my audio. And so I didn't answer it, but now I can't hear you. So I'm going to try to fix whatever happened. Let's see. Can you hear me? You can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. Let's do something.
Just tell me when you're ready.
Fast.
And I'll just shout some things out again.
I'm so technologically challenged. We're going to figure this out real quick and see if I can fix it. AirPods, everything's good. Everything's fine. All right. Oh my God. This isn't even the wine.
It will be later, hopefully. Oh, you can't even hear me say that. I'm just talking to myself.
Just keep talking. Okay, I can't read your lips. Just keep talking. I still can't hear a damn thing.
Everyone who's watching out there, again, the website is supporttagg.com. We have some great items, or you can donate $8.
All right, I'm going to do something be fancy. Just hang on with me. I'm the worst technological challenged person in the world.
Hilarious.
We're going to use, and we're going to use this.
Or you can donate to Dana and her internet connection as well. I'm sure she can give you that information.
Right. Everything's stuck.
At danagoldberg.com. Oh, I think we lost her, you guys. She's going to come back. I think we lost her, though. But I want to make sure that I'm still answering some of these questions. Some of you guys are making, I guess, comments as well. So anyway, I want to make sure that I get to those. So anyway, for those who don't know me, I realized I didn't even introduce myself. I just jumped right into this. My name is Ebony Bell. I am the editor-in-chief and founder of Tagg Magazine. I started it 8 years ago, exactly this month, because in our other LGBTQ publications and media outlets, the images, the stories were, dominated by white gay men. And so I wanted to see the stories of more queer women of color, trans folks. And so I left my job completely to start this publication because I really believe in it and I believe in this community and I want to make sure I tell our story. So for those who don't know, that's who I am. Dana is back. Let's see what we got here.
Did it work?
I can hear you.
You can't hear me.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to do something real fast while you keep telling people how wonderful you are. You have to put this in a glass so we can try the next wine. I'll be right back.
All right, this sounds good. This is amazing. So anyway, that's why I started Tagg Magazine. And through the years, I've been so grateful to have a wonderful team of writers, graphic designers, web developers, all the things that go into a magazine. So please, again, we're going to jump back into Dana. But, you know, if the spirit moves you, as I like to say, please go to supporttagg.com and help us reach our goal. So Dana's back. Are you ready to pour some Moscato?
I am. My hand's going to be a little lighter, but I'm ready to go.
All right, perfect. So I told you earlier that usually this is the one that everyone tends to like a lot. The Moscato is amazing. I gave this to a friend who doesn't really drink at all. They might drink like once every few months. Loved it. Completely loved it, which I think says a lot about the Moscato. So anyway, here we are again. Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers. Look at how much better I did.
I know. I realize I have to put it in my right hand or you won't see it.
Okay. So now
What do you
this is
think?
why I love this wine. Because it said Moscato, I'm used to a Moscato d'Asti being bubbly, and this one just said Moscato, but it has a perfect amount of effervescence.
Yes.
That is a delicious wine that you could actually have with a meal because it's not too sweet, or I drink Moscato for a dessert wine. So, and we haven't rehearsed this, people. This is really how I feel about Moscato, so I'm very excited that there's a little bit of bubbles in this. That's all.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really, really is. And again, you guys, I'm not just saying that because we're friends with Lion and Dove. Yes, they are amazing to our community since day one. And I already told them they will never get rid of me because they're just so awesome. Virginia, really quickly, yes, we cover national stories. If you visit taggmagazine.com, you'll see everything. I always joke that my goal is to tell the story of every queer woman on this planet. So I have my work cut out for me. And the only way we can do that is if you guys go ahead and support us. So I want to make sure that I said that. Thanks to everybody for wishing us a happy 8th anniversary. I appreciate it. But yeah, my question is, what advice would you give to new comedians?
Well, I need to practice what I preach on this. But first of all, if you're going to start and you've already hit the stages and you're in that level of comedy, record all your shows. It's very awkward. You don't want to watch them back. Watching myself on tape is one of the most miserable things I could do. But there's a lot of the times, especially now as I've gotten more seasoned and I'm a veteran, the audience work that I do, I don't always remember. And I don't know if this will make sense, but when I'm on stage and I'm in my zone, and if you're an athlete, you're an artist, anything else, you'll understand this. I don't always feel like I'm consciously there. It's coming from a place that is very, very higher power, very different. I won't remember some of the things that I say that are really good because I'm so present. So if I record those shows, I'd actually be able to see that and hopefully have future comedy that I may not have written down. And the other thing is it'll help you grow. You'll get to see yourself on stage. You'll get to hear your voice, your cadence. It'll be a great learning tool for you. So that would be my advice if you're a new comic. Just record all of your shows. And honestly, if this is something that has been pulling at your heart and day in and day out, you think about doing stand-up and you think about performing, don't give up. It's not the easiest road. It takes a lot to break in. Some people are in the right place at the right time and it happens very quickly. And others of us, including myself, will be doing this for 17 years and then be in the right place at the right time. So just keep doing it if you love it. That's for sure. And if you have a steady job and health insurance and you get to do it as a hobby, it takes a lot of the pressure off. Trust me.
That's good advice. You know, when I was in high school, I feel like I'm one of those people, like back in my day, when I was high school, I got, you know, they do the superlatives. I was class clown and funniest. And I thought I was funny, but it just turns out I was just like a sarcastic ass. So it was not meant for me to be in comedy at all. So I think it's really cool what you do, and any future comedians out there. I love the art. And you guys are, you know, I know your comedy is really funny, but to me, it's also intellectual. It's now, it's present.
Thank you.
You talk about a lot of politics, but you do it in such a funny way where I think people aren't that uncomfortable, but, you know, I can't speak for everyone.
You know, it's one of those things that, you know, I've had friends come up to me and say, you know, my parents were in the audience, they're Republicans and they loved you. I think there's a way to not, make comedy. I don't think, I know some people like shock comedy. That's not me. Like my goal is not to ostracize a part of my audience. My goal is, if we don't necessarily see eye to eye on things, to teach them through humor so that we can actually have a conversation about it, maybe have them see things in a way that they hadn't before, but it's never to alienate anybody in the crowd, unless you're a dick. And then I have no problem alienating you in the crowd. I don't usually go after, like, they don't like sit in the front row because they're like, oh, comedians are going to go after you. I won't go after my audience unless someone yells something out at me, and then that's a different story. Because I was a bartender for 11 years, and so I had to learn how to control situations where drunk people, audience members, were yelling things out at a bar and starting to cause commotion. And so I had to find a way to de-escalate things very quickly, I think, which is what I've learned to do as a comic, so that, you don't have a Kramer moment, or you don't have something that gets out of control where the comedian just loses it because they've lost control of the crowd. So knock on wood, that's never.
Yeah, it really is an art. It really is an art. So I admire you, and like I said, other comedians. So we have a funny random question from Kathy Cat. How much wine, how much bourbon do you go through weekly now?
Much more than I did in 2016, right before the election. I realize my camera keeps focusing and unfocusing. There we go. Which actually could just be my eyes. I'm over 40 and I've had wine, so it might not even be the camera. Kat and I like to sip bourbon together on Olivia trips, but I've actually been enjoying. Okay. Yeah, I've been enjoying my tequila much more lately, and it's funny. God bless her. So my mom. Sometimes I'll lose touch just because of life, and I'll forget to call, a few days or even a week can go by. And my mom and I are incredibly close, but unfortunately, to make sure I'm okay, she checks my social media. So she'll go on Twitter to see if I posted, or someone will send her a Facebook post so she knows I'm okay. But unfortunately, I joke a lot about, oh my God, there's more wine bottles in my recycling bin than normal. And so now I get calls from my mom that's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And are you drinking enough water? So my mother's, bless her heart, she's wonderful. So I'll be honest, I'm probably imbibing more during the pandemic than I have. But at the same time, Kat will also tell you I'm not a big drinker. She gives me a hard time, like on those Olivia trips that are all inclusive. I will try and pick one night that I'll allow myself, because when I'm working, that's one thing, I'm working. And the other thing is that I will lose the next day. Like, it's impossible. So I have to pick the day that I want to do it. And then it only takes 3 drinks and I'm done. That's it. That's it.
But yeah, I think a lot of things have changed for people during this pandemic. I definitely feel like I've gained the pandemic weight. That's definitely happened. Uber Eats has been my best friend and my enemy at the exact same time. And wine, thanks to Lion and Dove. So I appreciate that as well. But you had said something, and I wanted to go back to it because you were talking about, I guess, a-hole comedians. I would like to know, how is it to be a woman in the comedy world and a lesbian in the comedy world?
That's interesting. A couple of things happen. As a female in the comedy world, it's getting more, I don't want to say equitable, because it's not. Men still take over bills. There's a show, there's 5 guys and 1 girl. In general, even the Emmys, I like Dave Chappelle. I don't necessarily think his comedy special should have won the Emmy when you had, a bunch of other ones that were up that could have also deserved it. I feel like it's still a male run business in many ways. There's not a lot of female bookers in clubs. And so what's happened, and this is what I think's happened, and this is what I did in my career, we've created our own shows. So you'll see Poppy Champlin with the Queer Queens of Comedy all over the country. You'll see Aaron Foley with Gays R Us. You'll see Dana Goldberg with the Southwest Funny Fest. We have created spaces for our female comedians to headline all over the country, because our clubs don't necessarily give that to us. I think more and more that is changing. You see people pushing boundaries like Hannah Gadsby, who people want to fight tooth and nail. That's not comedy. Yes, it is. Who gets to decide? If it makes someone laugh, it's comedy. And she makes a hell of a lot of people laugh, even if you don't necessarily agree with her humor. You know, Wanda Sykes, all of these incredible powerhouses. So I think that it's getting better. The weird thing that I experienced with being in the comedy clubs with guys, being a lesbian, they treat us like one of the guys. Yep. So they think it's okay to be misogynistic and homophobic and transphobic in front of us because they see us as one of the dudes. And there's like a less safe place. There could not be a less safe place to do that than with me. Like, it's just not. So that's been interesting. But at the same time, I feel like for myself, I chose to stay out of the comedy club circuit. I did a lot of the theaters. I started working with Olivia. Now I do a tremendous amount of galas and hosting and fundraising. But there's a lot of straight female comics that have gone through hell with straight male comics in the clubs. And it's bad and it's unsafe. And I still think it's prevalent. We see more and more when you've got these guys on their podcast talking about, you know, that girl wanted stage time, so I told her to give me a BJ because this guy booked that show. And when you're in Hollywood and you want to get a set at the Comedy Store, women will do people, men too, young men get taken advantage of too by older, you know, gay men who for some reason want to abuse their power. It doesn't just stay in one genre, but it is mostly straight men abusing their power within the power structure. So that's another problem within the comedy world, is that for a long time, and I hope it's getting better, it just hasn't been a safe environment for women on their own.
Yeah, I think Kate McKinnon has really blown up as well. And she dominates Saturday Night Live. I feel like she's in like every sketch, and it's just really amazing to see that because, again, that show was super white, straight male dominated.
For sure.
And now we're getting the first, black woman, first gay black woman, I think, was just announced like a week or two ago.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I feel awful because I can't remember her name offhand, but yeah. So we're getting a lot of those now. And sometimes I wonder like what the past cast thinks about, you know, the new diversity of this show. So I mean,
I think Eddie Murphy would probably be one of the only. I'm thinking back, and I don't know if the old school Saturday Night Live cast, and I'm aging myself, but Eddie Murphy was one of the only people of color. Yeah. If not the only. I'm sure there were more. I'm sure there were others, but I'm sure he'd have something to say about and see the change in diversity. You know, and they're doing it from Bowen Yang to, you know, the first Asian cast member who's gay as Christmas and amazing. I think people are starting to understand now that people don't want to just see the old white, you know, or the even middle-aged white perspective anymore all the time. There's so much diversity in this world, and I say straight perspective. Kate McKinnon, I mean, her impression of Ruth Bader Ginsburg was one of the best.
Oh, I forgot about that. She killed it.
Virginia said Chris Rock. Was Chris Rock? Did he start on SNL? Was he even there?
Is Chris Rock on SNL?
Someone answer us or Google it. I can't right now.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Rock was on. I know he's been a guest a couple times, but I don't think
he hosted. I don't think he was ever an actual cast member. But
yeah, I don't. But maybe. Yeah, somebody Google it now and let us know. But Punky Johnson.
Annie said yes. Chris Rock was on SNL.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Annie is, by the way, she's part of the Tagg team. She's probably one of the best things to happen to Tagg Magazine. She's always on it. She said that Punky Johnson is the new cast member of SNL.
Oh, nice.
So thank you for that, Annie. You are amazing. And Chris Rock was on from 1990 to 1993.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Annie makes me look so good. I love it. I really do.
Thank you. Have a gay. We call my dear friend Gloria Bigelow calls them gaggle. They're just gay people that know all the information, so they call them gaggle for our gay Google.
Annie, that's your new name. I just want you to know ahead of time. I'll be calling you that.
Annie's Ebony's gaggle.
I love it. Listen, I don't want to take too much more of your time. We had two great wines. Please tell us what you have coming down the pipeline so we can support you.
If everything goes well, regardless, on Thursday, the Human Rights Campaign is doing their annual, what they would do the national dinner, because they have 31 galas across the country that all got canceled because of COVID. So they're doing a Unite for Equality on Thursday, September 24th, this coming Thursday. You can go to hrc.org and register, and it should be a fantastic night. They need support as well if you haven't. And if not, you can just register and have a great night for equality.
Yeah.
And then on October 1st, I'll also be hosting the National Awards for Lambda Legal, which is fighting tooth and nail for our rights for the LGBTQ community. So I'll be hosting their awards ceremony on October 1st. And that'll also be something everyone could, thanks, Annie. Everyone could go watch as well and support. So donate to Tagg Magazine. If you have an extra $1 or $2, give it to the organizations that are fighting for the most marginalized in our community. And this is really important to me, and I'll say this. We have a hierarchy of privilege in our community, in the LGBTQ community, that we need to start recognizing. And we have, with all due respect, because some of them are incredibly generous, we have white, cis, gay men up here that have always had the opportunity to reach that high power structure. And I hope that we in the LGBTQ community start using our privilege, and those of us who have it, to support those that don't. Our trans brothers and sisters of color, our non-binary brothers and sisters, and I don't even want to say brothers and sisters because that also is gender affirming. So
right.
Community, our trans, our Black trans community, our Black non-binary communities. So just support each other, and please, I have to ask, and I understand that there's some people on the other side of the aisle, but just get out and vote. This is the most important election of our lifetime. And I don't care if you're a Republican, there's a difference right now between Republicans and Trump people. You're different people. And so just remember what you truly believe in if you happen to be on the right side, because it's not this guy. So I hope you all do get out and vote. And we have a new president after November 3rd. And the Senate, we have to flip the Senate.
We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Is your birthday next month?
No, but we can make it so. Who knows if I'll see another one.
Somebody said something about anything on October 3rd. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Virginia's birthday on October 13th. Happy birthday, Virginia. Happy early birthday. I'm sorry about that, Dana.
That's okay.
Also, I have to say really quickly, if you do not follow Dana on Twitter, do it now. She is hilarious. I enjoy her responses to the president, among other things. So make sure you follow Dana on Twitter as well. But Dana, I can't thank you enough. You're always come out and support. You've supported us. Like I said, from back in the day, I know we've done a couple articles in 2015. We posted your open letter to 2016. I remember that.
I may be writing a breakup letter to 2020. Just you better believe it.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And then we did you did the Queer and Teen Con for us, which was amazing. And actually, Dana Piccoli is on here as well. Hey, Dana. She's also in our new issue of Tagg. Good to see you. But yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you're on the socials, my Twitter's DG Comedy, and so is my Instagram. If you want to see pictures and not hear my voice, you can just go to DG Comedy and follow me there. And Ebony, thank you for the work you've done. You've had so much passion and so much commitment to this magazine for so many years, and the community loves you. So I hope that it's reflected in the donations people are giving, and the people that are saying yes to help you are because of who you are. It's a reflection of who you are in this community. So I'll never be a no girl. You'll always have me as a yes girl. So just reach out if you ever need me.
I appreciate that, and vice versa, my friend. Well, thank you all for watching. Join us next month. We'll have another special guest. But Dana, thank you again, and I hope everyone enjoys your day. And if nobody has told you today, you are loved and you are seen. Thank you so much.
Bye.